Hi everyone, I am Vikrant Bhujbalrao. Professionally, I am an author. I have published two books. First book is an Amazon bestseller, and then I launched the second one. I am also writing my third book on the growth and scale up, and I am also writing my fourth and fifth book on life skills. Professionally, I am a startup coach, I am a business mentor, I am also an accountability partner, I am a leadership trainer, I am a motivational speaker, and I am a life skills guru. I am also a psychotherapist. So, before getting into this, before reaching at this level, I have an interesting story to share. I have completed my MBA from Pune's top institute, that is Pumba. It's Pune University's MBA department. After completing my MBA, I worked with a couple of corporates like Kellogg's, like intellectual property rights, like an app development company. And then we jumped into business. In fact, that's the name of the first book for all the students, working professionals, and aspiring entrepreneurs. Those who have some great ideas, those who are thinking of starting up, and those who want to become an entrepreneur. So, like you guys, we decided to jump into business, and trust me, that was the biggest mistake of my life. So, I started my first venture without onboarding any mentor, without having any coach, or without taking any expert's advice. Me, couple of partners, couple of co-founders, we started a company by the name of Dr. U, and this business was into health food. So now I'm talking about 2009-2010 pre-COVID era where very few people were health conscious. I'm a health freak, I'm a fitness freak. So most of the entrepreneurs, most of the innovative startup founders, they also commit similar mistake which I did. I thought I'm a health conscious person. I regularly go to gym, I follow diet, so I assume that there is a big market. Especially I'm talking about Indian context where a lot of people are not health conscious. In fact, if they go outside for food, then they will definitely go for a tasty cuisines. So we come up with this idea called as Dr. U, the health food chain. And 4 to 5 years, we were three co-founders, we hired a lot of people, we fired a lot of people, we have onboarded investors, we have seen a lot of ups and downs for next 4 to 5 years. We have tried our level best, but unfortunately, we failed. We failed abruptly, losing 5 crucial years of my life. I remember I was around 27 years old, and the energy, the enthusiasm, the money, the backup, the family support, everything was in sync. But we failed. We failed because of a lot of reasons which I'm going to share with you. But then, when we closed the business, when we stopped the business, the situation was like I was responsible for my family because my father was retired. So I had a small daughter. So there were a hell lot of pressures. There were liabilities, there were loans, and I was like completely stuck. I was so stuck that I started feeling suicidal. कि यार इतना अच्छा बिजनेस आइडिया था, इतना अच्छा कॉन्सेप्ट था, अब क्या करना है, हाउ टू टेक इट टू द नेक्स्ट लेवल. So I was back to jobs. I worked again with some IT company traveling pan India, working under a lot of bosses, meeting with thousands of people. In the process, I got to know that a lot of engineering colleges, a lot of MBA colleges, a lot of startup forums, they have started inviting me to share my story. Now, this is interesting. When the first time I got an invite from an engineering college, I said, I failed in my business. Why do you want me to come and guide to your engineering students? So he said that the failure taught you a lot of lessons, and we want to know how you dared to start your own business and what are the lessons. So that's how I started realizing that my story connects with a lot of people who are like me, who are like first generation entrepreneurs. They have never been into business, their family never been into business, so there's no one who is guiding them. So people started connecting with me, and that's how a lot of engineering MBA colleges started inviting me as a keynote speaker, as a panelist, to share my views, my thoughts, and my story about what it takes to become an entrepreneur. What are the do's and what are the don'ts? So that's how I have discovered that there is this field called as training, coaching and mentoring. In the process, I worked with a couple of corporates more, traveling pan-India and meeting with a lot of people. But my kida of business person, that entrepreneurship zeal was within me. So somehow the destiny, the universe was playing this game and I was getting regularly invited to deliver a talk. May it be the startup forums as a panelist, may it be a keynote speaker for some networking groups, may it be a trainer or a speaker. And that's how I got to know that this can also be a business. So I started doing the research, I started working with people who are already doing great. So there is Mr. Sandeep Maheshwariji, Dr. Vivek Bindraji. I started working with Dr. Manish Gupta, who is one of my mentor, one of my guru, under whom I have actually studied what it takes to start your own training, coaching and mentoring business. And then the interesting story is, the interesting context of my story is, I was working with this Chrysalis business solution, and to sell the business coaching program, I approached to one of my friend who was also an entrepreneur running a very good IT company in Pune, which is an iOS and Android app development company, targeting to the global clients. I tried to pitch my product and he offered me a job. They started an initiative by the name of 111 Startups, 111 Startups. This initiative was to empower tech startups which are innovative products, app-based, platform-based, LMS, anything into tech, core tech, robotics, IoT, AI, VR. So they were empowering these startups through this initiative called as 111 Startups. Mentoring, evaluating ideas, funding, giving them a co-working space, incubating them, accelerating them, and creating an ecosystem for those startup founders who are solving some problems. So I have been given an offer to lead this initiative. So I decided to become the CEO for 111 Startups. 2-3 years I worked with 111 Startups, and in the process I got an opportunity to evaluate 10,000 startup ideas. I'm talking about the innovative concepts. It's like Uber, it's like Swiggy, it's like Zepto, it's like all the app tech based which are solving a big problem in the market. So right from health tech, ag tech, right from ed tech, right from agro tech, I was exposed to a very different level of startup ecosystem. And the combined experience, when I see I failed, I worked with corporate and I got an opportunity to evaluate, mentor and fund the startups, I have realized that this can be a very good professional work. So I started the company by the name of Your Sarthi as a training, consulting and mentoring company. So right now, when I am speaking to you, I am the director of this company, Your Sarthi, which is into training, mentoring, consulting and connecting right people at the right time. So what we do is, we inspire students, working professionals to think about entrepreneurship as a rewarding career choice, because a lot of people, they don't have the idea that this career can take you to the next levels. So we inspire, we motivate, but apart from this, all those people who are in the business or who start, so we have identified that the people who jump into business without any mentor, without any coach, without any family business background or without any expertise of business, they fail more. I failed in my earlier business, so I know the pain of failing, what it takes to have a lot of liabilities. There's no one who can understand you. You're a lonely chap when you are a failure in the business. So we inspire people, but we also help them to take wiser decisions. So in my training programs, in my one-on-one mentoring and consulting, I guide them, I give them direction, I push them, I understand their ground level challenges based on my 15 years of experience, which is a combined experience of corporate, the experience of working with so many startups and the failure experience. So till date, I have been evaluating more than 10,000 plus innovative startup ideas, and I have worked with more than 1,000 startup founders, business owners, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, and in the process, I have my mentors, my coaches who are guiding me. We have our investors who are supporting me. We have a team, we have a community of entrepreneurs and business owners who are supporting to each other indirectly, contributing to the GDP of India, and together we are creating employments, together we are creating a change in this nation. So, the biggest challenges, biggest problems which I have observed, first, most of the people they jump into business without having any business experience or any family business background. Second, those who are in the business they lack the strategy because either they are single business owners or solopreneurs or single founders. So they don't validate their thoughts, they don't validate their ideas, they don't validate their decisions with anyone. So the chances of they committing the mistakes are more. From my personal experience, I can vouch on it that the chances of people failing in the business if they don't have a co-founder, if they don't have a family business background, if they don't have a mentor or a coach. So first, all the people who jump without having any support system. Second, those who are in the business, they don't have the support system. Third, those who have reached to a level where we call it MSME or SME or a company which has a team, which has a product defined, it is validated. In that case, there is a misalignment. The founder has a different vision, but the employees doesn't work as per the expectation of the founders. So that's the area where we also work with the founder, the owner, and we also groom their leadership team. So that's the biggest challenge. So majority of the business owners, according to the Forbes, 97% of the startups fail. And out of 10, almost 7 to 8 businesses usually fail in first year or 3 years or maximum 5 years. So the biggest reason is you need to have someone with whom you can validate, you can discuss your ideas, you can brainstorm. That someone should be from a business background. He or she should have the expertise, the experience. And second thing is you need to have a clear goal set for your business. And to achieve to that goal, you need to have right strategies defined. And apart from the strategy, you need to have a plan of action which is thoroughly thought of, discussed, validated, and brainstorm with the expert. And last but never the least, you should have the systems, the processes, and the right culture which take your company to the next level. So these are the majority of the problems which we have observed. And we are working with a lot of entrepreneurs to take their business to the next level. So if you need any help, do reach out to us. Thank you.